Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we have, well, a sort of trip down foundation memory lane, also known as a pretty brutal foundation declutter. I am sitting, as you can kind of see, my background here is all of these foundations, and I'll tell you how we got to this point. It seems like conspicuous consumption, but I promise you it's not. I'm consuming all this stuff so that you guys can make better choices about what you're purchasing, right? Less purchasing from more people. Or so I tell myself. I think that's what it is. But remember, I do get all of these in to review them, and it really wasn't a problem until last month. January was foundation month. And between foundation month and kind of foundation month part 2 this month, I have over 20 new foundations, some of them in more than one shade, and it really reached kind of critical mass in my foundation drawers. Now, we're going to go through them all, and we're going to reminisce about some of these, and I'm going to tell you which ones I am getting rid of and which ones I am keeping and which ones I am saving for comparison purposes, but more on that in a moment. Let me show you after January and February of this year what my 2 foundation drawers look like. So take a look at those right now, and that will just let you know what I was kind of working with. It was maddening because I am a very organized person, and I know you can't tell that from those drawers, but rather than just kind of go through them with an axe, I thought we would do it together. I cannot donate any foundation I'm getting rid of because foundation, of course, these are mostly liquid products and they do go off, so they would have to be tossed. Some of them I will be saving for comparison purposes, not to put on my face if they're expired. And I do know that you cannot compare them if they've changed in texture, consistency, coverage, things like that. But if they look pretty good, I probably won't put them on my face, but it's nice to have them for comparison purposes. For instance, Shiseido released a skin tint version of their Syncho foundation, and I was able to compare it to the foundation, which is about 2 years old. Probably wouldn't put it on my face, but it was nice to have. Its consistency is fine, and it was nice for comparison purposes. But others will just have to be gotten rid of. And for the sake of sanity, I will let you know that I have eliminated from this declutter any sort of primers or concealers, or we would be here all day long. So we're really looking here at just foundation. I even eliminated those kind of hybrid primer foundations. I have a few in here if I felt they were leaning more towards foundation, like, you know, substance. But if it's just kind of like the Bobbi Brown Everything Pencil isn't in here, and Auric isn't in here, the Glow Lust, I know you can kind of wear that as a foundation, but I still kind of saw it as a primer or a highlighter. So those hybrid products really aren't in here too much. Let me show you what it really looks like behind me when I took all those drawers, everything out of those 2 drawers that you saw. Look at it all sitting here. That is our job, to go through that today. So I'm just here in my sweatshirt. This is kind of a non-work day for me, so I wanted to declutter. We got our Coke Zero right here. And I don't even have any contacts in. I've got my little clear glasses here. Clean them all up so that we can make sure we are getting everything perfectly. Let's take a little walk down foundation memory lane and see what we got here and what I should keep, or certainly keep at the ready. Some will go in storage boxes. Let's just dig right in, shall we? Okay, we're going to start with the Tarte Amazonian Clay. One of them just fell behind me. The Tarte Amazonian Clay. I do not like this foundation. This is the redone version. If you have the original, you might well know and love it. It is a full coverage foundation. I will save this in a box for comparison purposes, but it has a fragrance, and the fragrance does not dissipate. The coverage is lovely, full coverage, and very pretty, but that foundation is always there. It's always by my nose. It's very floral. I love Tarte. I love Tarte complexion products, but they are not a perfume house. This makes me sick, so I do not like that. It is not bad. It is brand new, really, 2-3 months old, and it will be saved for comparison purposes only. Okay, this is a really good one. So here we have the Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer Long Wear Broad Spectrum. This one, unfortunately, does have an SPF in it, and the SPF makes it really tough for me because when the SPF goes off in a foundation, for me, it causes blemishes. I had an amazing comment from one of you guys a few weeks back who lived in Asia and now has moved and says that we know in Asia, skincare and SPF is very important. And she feels, I think rightly so, that a lot of these companies, if they don't put SPF in their foundation, they kind of cut off that whole market because people don't want it unless it has SPF, and that's a large market share in Asia. So it may just be why we see a little bit of SPF in foundations. I do prefer them without. We've gone on and on about this forever. You know, you mix it in and you're never going to get the full SPF anyway. Then it goes off, causes some of us blemishes, blah, blah, blah. But let me say this has nothing to do with Estee Lauder Double Wear. It really doesn't. My Double Wear got so old that I actually decluttered it quite a while ago. This has nothing to do with Double Wear, but just as a sheer everyday foundation, it's fantastic. It's just too bad it has SPF. Let's keep moving. Oh boy, let's grab a lot of these Charlotte Tilbury products here. So I love Charlotte Tilbury, and anyone who's been watching my channel for a while knows this about me. I am not a huge fan of her foundation products. We'll talk about the Beautiful foundation in a moment. That's the new one. But what do I have here? I have the Light Wonder, which kind of is a hybrid product. Sorry about that. And Wonder Glow. I have the Airbrush Flawless. I have the Healthy Glow, and I have the Magic Foundation. This one is super old and will be tossed. I don't want to open it. Yuck. And I just don't like, some of you love this. Drop a comment below if you're a fan of the old-fashioned Charlotte Magic Foundation. I am not. It caked on me. I found it drying. These products are okay, but not great. The Wonder Glow and the Light Wonder, they're okay, but they're not great. The Healthy Glow is one of these. If you guys haven't tried this, and we have a Trini product behind us that's like this too, those foundations that adjust supposedly to your skin tone. This one can go orange though. They never get enough skin tones in there. I mean, how could they? But you know, they're really interesting to use. They kind of go on white, and as you rub them in, let me see if this one still will show you. See how it's gray? And then as you rub it in, it changes. I'm not going to put this on my face. It's too old. But as you rub it in, see it changes and it takes on the shade of your skin. It actually smells pretty good. This is actually probably still pretty good. A lot of people really love it. And if it works for your skin tone, it's great. I just never reach for it. And here is the next to last. We have the new Charlotte Beautiful foundation over here, but the Airbrush Flawless was her full coverage that she just released recently. And it's, if you like full coverage foundation, it's a very good one. For a lot of people, it settles into lines and stuff. I love Charlotte Tilbury. I'm never that blown away by her complexion products other than the Hollywood Flawless Filter. It's the exception that makes the rule. Let's keep going. Oh, you guys know what I think about this one. This is the Caliray Skin Tint. I reviewed this in my January foundation month, and I absolutely hate it. Reminds me of the Fenty Eavesdrop that's coming up over here. Also hate. I will save this for comparison purposes. I do like the brand. I found this, and you can see reviews that I did of it. I found it patchy and terrible. So that will be saved for review purposes, but it will not be in my main foundation drawer. How about this Milk product? Do you guys remember this? The Sunshine Skin Tint by Milk. This is a really pretty product. It has an interesting applicator. It's got like a little roller ball. It's kind of a gimmick. And then a little thing that you tap here and then you roll it onto your face. It's very young, very youthful, very light coverage, very shiny and pretty. I've reviewed all these and have reviews. I can list them actually for you. I never reach for it. It's perfectly pretty and perfectly good. But we have a lot of perfectly pretty, perfectly good foundations here. So let's pick up the one that fell and keep going. Okay, so since we were just talking about Charlotte Tilbury, I went ahead and pulled the two shades that I have, 4 Warm and 5 Neutral. This is the brand new Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Foundation, medium finish, a very pretty foundation, an incredibly difficult shade match. 4 Warm is what I was matched with in store by the Charlotte Tilbury specialist at my local Nordstrom. I am neutral, sometimes cool, never warm. In this I am. And this is the 5 Neutral. Sometimes I mix the two. They're very pretty. It doesn't blow me away, mostly because It's so difficult to find your shade, and so the frustration factor really bummed me out. I think it's a perfectly pretty foundation, but again, when Charlotte, other than her Hollywood Flawless filter, when Charlotte Tilbury does complexion products, I'm never that amazed. Because I pulled the Caliray, I went ahead and grabbed behind me the Fenty Eavesdrop. This product, just like the Caliray, you either love or you hate. I am in the hate category. I love Fenty. I have a complexion product of Fenty's coming up that I actually really like and recommend to people. This one is not it. Again, patchy. I know if you use it in the right way and experiment with it, I could grow to love it. I don't have the time. I don't like it. I mentioned to you at the beginning of this video comparisons for my review purposes. So this is one that I mentioned, and it is the Shiseido Syncho Skin Self-Refreshing Tint, and compared to the Shiseido Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. This foundation is probably about 2 years old. I probably wouldn't put it on my face anymore, but it's still in pretty good condition for comparison purposes. And the Syncho Skin Self-Refreshing Tint is a lovely, lovely light foundation. I often recommend it to people who tell me they just want something light and a little bit dewy and pretty. It's a really good one. The foundation is a really good one too. Why haven't I gotten a newer one then and replaced it? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's grab something from over here. Here's the brand new Makeup Forever HD Skin. Let's talk about this, you guys. This has alcohol twice on the ingredient list. Let's talk about it. This upset a lot of people. And Wayne Goss did a review of it. He loved it, really found it. And he didn't even mention the alcohol, so clearly it doesn't even matter to a makeup artist. The reason alcohol is often listed in a foundation type product is it does help with the dry down. No one wants to walk around with wet foundation on their face all the time. And that's what it's for in here. This reminds me a little bit of the Pat McGrath foundation, which is also up here. Since it's like the third or fourth ingredient, when you first put it on, you do kind of go, you know how rubbing alcohol is, right? You kind of smell. It's like the hospital smell, right? And it goes away right away, and it does help for the dry down. They do recommend that you not use this product around the eye because they're afraid it could be aging. I haven't found that to be so, but my guess is it's because alcohol can be a bit drying. I will tell you that I wore this for 2 or 3 days in a row, and I did have a little bit drier skin. This is a beautiful foundation. I think it should probably be worn maximum twice a week. I wouldn't wear it every day. It's beautiful though. It does have alcohol in it though. It's kind of like the Pat McGrath foundation. You're going to love it or you're going to hate it. My lovely Tarte Shape Tape Cloud Coverage. Like the Shiseido Skin Tint, this is a beautiful, dewy, light to light medium coverage. Other than the Amazonian clay that I just told you I couldn't stand the scent, I really am, as you guys probably know, a big fan of most Tarte complexion products, including the brand new Tarte, that flexible concealer that I reviewed. I love it, and I love this too. This is a really pretty light to light medium foundation that is affordable, easy enough to go on the website and find a shade match. It's pretty, it wears beautifully. I have nothing bad to say about it, like with most Tarte complexion products. Grabbing from over here, bareMinerals BAREPRO powder. If you are a fan of powder foundation, you're not going to find one that's better. If you are a fan of the, good old MAC powder foundation that so many people in the industry use, I think you would love this. bareMinerals loves and knows what they're doing with powder foundations, loose or pressed. This is a pressed one. It's beautiful in that it keeps it, the little sponge, it keeps it separate from the actual product. It has a mirror. It's easy to use. It travels well. I don't need a full coverage powder foundation, but this is a good one, and it's obviously new, so I'll be saving that just for comparison purposes. Here's, speaking of Tarte, here is the Tarte, and I have it in light neutral here, and this is their brand new, what is it called again? I'm not wearing my contacts here. This is the Amazonian Clay Gem Powder Foundation. It is an interesting powder foundation because it's a loose powder foundation. It's really pretty. It needs a primer underneath, and it's a mess, because if I hold this up, it's going to get everywhere. It's just real loose, and it's hard to control it coming out. I think it looks cakey unless you put a primer underneath it, and then it's really pretty, but it's just such a mess. You know, to me, if you're going to use a powder foundation, it's nicer if it's pressed. I know bareMinerals makes a great loose powder foundation. I'm not trying to attack that, but this one's really a mess. It's pretty on with a primer. This one's pretty on no matter how you put it on. I'll save it, but it's not my favorite. Let's look at these two. I must just have these kind of in stock, so to speak. Let's look at these two Laura Mercier tinted moisturizers. So I've got the tinted moisturizer, the illuminating, and the tinted moisturizer light revealer. This is the new one. I have a review on this one. They're both broad spectrum. This one is 30 SPF. This one is 25 SPF. Just means when they get older for me, I can't use them. Makes me break out. I have talked to you guys about this already. I have no explanation for this. Laura Mercier bores me. I know, unpopular opinion. Amazing makeup artist, amazing legacy, amazing makeup brand. Nothing about the brand excites me. I have no idea why. Everybody who has been around the makeup industry for any amount of time has tried the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer, and they are incredibly good products that I never want to reach for. There is no reason for it, and it is unfair. Even I admit that. Let's continue on here. Cosis. Okay, now that I've done my Cosis review, I can look at other ones. I saved both my 140 shade and my 200 shade, and I mixed them. I love this Cosis foundation, the Revealer foundation. I've seen one review where they said it's drying, and another where they said it's so drying, it's uncomfortable. Really? I love this. It's light, it's not dewy, it's not matte. It's just kind of in between, and I find it really flattering and beautiful. If you've tried this, go ahead and put your thoughts below. This will be saved for me in the top drawer, along with the Makeup Forever will be in the top drawer, and those skin tints, those will be in the top drawer for me to use on an everyday basis. I don't know whether or not to put the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful in my top drawer. I probably will. It's new enough. I probably will. Let's see what we got back here. Oh, this is a great one. So this is the Sephora product. And it's a spray. It's kind of like the Dior Air Flash. And community member Veronica recommended this to me, and what a great recommendation. First of all, it's cheap as chips, super affordable, super quick, and super pretty. It is just skin-like. If you like the Dior Air Flash, or you've always wanted to try it and didn't want to pay for it, try this one. It's just, see, takes a while to get to you if you're in the US because it's an aerosol. But it's great. It is a good foundation. It's so inexpensive and so pretty. There's not many shades, but it's so light. It's stretchy. That is staying in the top drawer. Oh, here's an interesting one. This was controversial at the time. This is Becca. Remember Becca? This is Becca Light Shifter Doing Tint Illuminator. I've got Orbit too, and Orbit is a good name for it because this is too shiny. This should be a highlighter and not a foundation. It is too dewy. And when I put it on in the video where I reviewed it, a lot of you thought it was really pretty being that dewy. And I agree from an editorial standpoint. It would be like an awesome on a model on a magazine cover with the sun shining on her. Can you tell I used to organize shoots for magazine covers? At any rate, it would be beautiful. However, on me, it's just so shiny, it kind of looks like you need one of those like blotting papers, I think. I think it's too shiny. Can you get this now even? I don't know. I'll save it for comparison purposes if there's another overly dewy foundation that comes out. Let's clear some of these away and get some more on here. Okay, here's some interesting ones. This is a Super Goop CC Screen. This is a foundation with a nice amount of SPF in it, rather than a moisturizer that's tinted and has SPF. This is, you know, a nice full, medium to full coverage foundation. I am hot and cold on Super Goop. The CC Screen is a great product, especially as we go into spring and summer. I highly recommend this one. I have a review on it. I'll link below. It's really pretty, great sun protection. You are turning to Super Goop for its SPF properties, and it's mineral, which is really nice. I know everything's chemical, really, even mineral, but I do prefer to stick to a mineral. I know a lot of people don't like the flashback on that or the way it sits on the face or goes white. This one, it really works. Keep this in mind as we approach the warmer months. And of course, the same can be said of the Sisley, has a tinted sunscreen cream that is kind of a broad spectrum, much more like a foundation. This stuff is so thick that if you put on too much, you'll rue the day. I mean, look at it, it just comes out that thick, and when you put it on, it's just, if you put too much on your hand, I mean on your face, you are going to, a little goes a long way. I wonder if this is still good. This is a great one also. The problem with Sisley is you have to, you know, remortgage your home to get it. It's just too expensive. How much is this now? I don't know, I'll put it on the screen. It's too much. And this is equally as good and a lot cheaper, but keep that in mind. Speaking of products that go on white, remember like the Charlotte Tilbury product that kind of turns your skin tone? This is the BFF cream from Trinity London. And Trinity London has redone this formula, I believe, since then. So this is so old that I will be tossing this. There's no redeeming or comparing this. And it's a really, really good product. I don't give Trinity enough love. Trinity London products are really good. I was a huge fan when they first launched, and I haven't really kept up with the brand. But people recommend the brand to me all the time and try to introduce me to it. And I'm like, oh, we go way back. Not literally, but I used to love this brand and buy them all the time, and I haven't recently. I don't know why. No reason for it. Thrive. How do you guys feel about Thrive? I don't cover their products very much. Nobody ever seems interested in Thrive. Thrive is a company that does cosmetics, C-A-U-S-E. They're very involved in charities. They have that lengthening tubing mascara that I like. Kind of either love or you hate. And this is their kind of CC cream. It's a really good product that's not very exciting and nobody out there really seems to care about. They do a lot of like viral TikTok things, and every time I see it I go, are people interested in that on TikTok? Because on YouTube you guys are just kind of like asleep. I don't know, tell me what you think about Thrive in general. Really, tell me in your comments. Is this a brand you care about? This is a really good product. It's not very interesting. Put this with the Laura Mercier. Tom Ford, what is this? I haven't seen this in forever. Talk about a walk down memory lane. This is the Flawless Glow Foundation. It has a broad spectrum 30, gosh darn it, and it's probably a few years old. This is that one with that weird applicator where you have to plunge it down and it fills the plunger, and then you have to pull it. Oh, it's gone really watery. This will be tossed. This was never very thick, but it's even thinner than usual. I don't really remember this. How old is this? Did you guys have this? This is an old one. I'm sure it was expensive too. La Mer. The La Mer Reparative Skin Tint. I don't even know if this is the newer version. No, this is the original. This is the light medium in the original. This is a great skin tint. It is just a standby, great skin tint. SPF 30, it's the original. It's probably gone bad. I will save it in the archive somewhere, but I don't know if I put it on my skin because it's a little old. How many of you are a huge fan of the La Mer Reparative Skin Tint? For a while, we couldn't find it. And then they re-released it and made some changes. I think it's still good. I don't know if I have the newer version around here somewhere. This is the original. What do you guys think of this? There's lots of comments you need to leave below. I need to hear your thoughts. Here is one of the best foundations of all time, if you ask me. This is the Surratt Dewdrop. Did you guys get this one? This is when people ask me to recommend a light but not too light, light to medium but not too medium, dewy but not too dewy, reliable, beautiful foundation. I will always recommend the Surratt Dewdrop. It is absolutely lovely in this little case. It's just the right consistency. This is one that when I'm out, I buy another one. This, you always want to have this on hand. One of my favorite foundations of all time. Believe it or not. Let's keep going. I am still trying to rub all of that Sisley sunscreen foundation into my hand. It's just, man, that stuff is thick. Okay, we got the Tom Ford here. This is the Be nice if I held it up for you. This is the Tom Ford Glow Tinted Moisturizer. So this is a tinted moisturizer. It's a good product. I always forget about it. But tell me if you had this one. Hey, the Flawless Conceal the Deal. So Flawless started out with the Conceal the Deal concealer, and then they went ahead and released this Conceal the Deal foundation. It's an interesting one in that it is a skincare based serum foundation, but it's full coverage. I am not a full coverage kind of lady. If you are, you might enjoy this. I never use it just because I'm not really into full coverage. And as far as full coverage go, I found it very acceptable and nice, but I have better full coverage foundations that I like. Oh, big letdown from YSL. This was their new. Remember this new NU? They had a primer that a lot of you like. And they had this kind of medium coverage in a tube. Bare Look Tint. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It is overpriced. It is nothing to write home about. And most people have forgotten about it. I saw it sitting there in the drawer and went, what's that? Oh, yeah. It's not even that old. Oh, this was a darling of the makeup scene for a while. And I just said I didn't like them, but this was quite the darling. This is the Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere, the Radiance Perfecting Foundation. It's good. It's really good. This is an old one. I didn't replace it. You know, when my Surratt Dewdrop gets old or I use it up, I replace it. This was a really good foundation, but again, I just guess it's like Laura Mercier. I'm always like, oh, that's really good. I really like it, and then never use it. There is no explaining it. Here is my heartbreak, and if you've been with my channel a while, you have heard me lament this, so you're going to have to let me do it again. Ugh. This is my Tom Ford. What's this one called, you guys? It's the shade Bisque, and this is like the illuminating foundation. Here we go. The Shade and Illuminate Soft Radiance Foundation. I love this foundation. I love this foundation. I don't know if I mentioned that I love it, but let's talk about the issues with it. It has SPF, and the SPF went bad after probably 7 or 8 months, or went off, or went to town, or went wherever SPFs go when they leave. And it breaks me out like crazy. Like if I wear this, I will be broken out like a teenager on my face. And this foundation was probably $10,000 or whatever the foundation equivalent of $10,000. Honestly, it's like $170. I'll put it down here. It's way too much money. I will not part with it. I love it. I cannot wear it. Just the bottle. It's like a piece of art. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Give me a minute. All right, let's continue on. Oh, Dior. Dior, Dior, Dior. Why'd you do it? Why did they reformulate their Forever? So I've got the Skin Glow, I've got the matte Dior Forever, and I've got the Skin Glow. These are new. They'll definitely be in my drawer. The Skin Glow is like whatever. People love it out there. Okay, it's good. It's all right. This sinks into lines for me. I've had the weirdest thing, if you guys saw my foundation recap after foundation month in January, the matte, if I put a really dewy primer underneath, like that Becca dewy that I had out here, if you put a dewy primer underneath this and give it just a little bit of flexibility with that, matte is beautiful over it. Like it's actually one of my favorites over a regular primer, no. On bare skin, no. But over a dewy primer, it like gives it this life, and it's really pretty. Other than that, Dior should not have messed with it. They broke a lot of hearts. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. Do you guys remember this? This is a really, really nice skin tint. Comes in a dropper like this. It's a little bit kind of an ugly, messy, you know, they could have done that better in the eyedropper, because the eyedropper comes out just covered in product. Kind of like when you open a pump foundation accidentally the wrong way. So they could have perfected that, but wearability, it's quite lovely. I don't often think to reach for it, but Beauty Blender does really nice things other than just sponges. And this is a nice one. It's a nice skin tint, not too heavy, not too light, very pretty on, and I don't think it has any SPF. Excellent. Let's take a sip here. What do I have behind me? We're narrowing it down. Speaking of alcohol and foundations, here is the Pat McGrath Labs foundation. This was one you either loved or you hated. I love it. Just like I like the HD Skin from Makeup Forever. I think it's really pretty. Again, alcohol in this one is like the third or fourth ingredient down, and that infuriated people. It's in there for the dry down. You can get a little whiff of it, just like you do with the Makeup Forever. They're very, in a way, kind of similar products, I think, and I love them both. So this one isn't going anywhere. Okay, we're moving along with breathtaking speed. I hope you're holding on. Lisa Eldridge. This was the darling of the makeup industry when it was released, because Lisa Eldridge did that really cool, innovative, you know, with one release, she did the kind of innovative cards that had just enough product. You know, sometimes sample cards for foundations, it's that plastic thing that you peel up and you have to scrape. No, this actually were little bubble packs with foundation shades in it. We all loved it. And it's such a nice and such a beautiful wearable foundation. And it has this really beautifully designed in France, you know, bottle that's meant with this indentation to lay on its side. Yeah, it's pretty. It makes it a pain to store. And you've heard me complain about this, guys. I think it's itchy for me. It's either slightly drying, as some of you tell me it dries out, but when I kind of use my brush and get it on my eyelids a little bit, my eyelids itch like crazy. I mean, like all night long, I want to just, it keeps you awake. And I stopped using this foundation and it went away. So there's something in it that irritates me. I do have a video coming out about makeup allergies and sensitivities, and I'll talk about that. Is it dry and itchy? Is it irritating and itchy? Are you allergic to it? This one falls into that category. Beautiful foundation. I'm not wearing it anymore. And some people turned on it. It was an inevitable backlash when something is that popular. Okay, here's what I'm wearing today on my face. This is the Patrick Starrr One Size BBB Cream, a super pretty, super wearable, medium to full coverage foundation that I am very much enjoying. And those of you in my audience who purchased this told me the same. It's really pretty. I'm wearing it today. It's going to definitely stay in my top drawer. But I didn't like this One Size powder foundation from Patrick Starrr for one reason and one reason only. I could only get my shade by blending to, and that drives me crazy. With some of them, like the Cosis foundation, I blend to because I wanna, and the Charlotte also, but I don't have to. But this I actually had to. So I have two of them. You know, it's a nice powder foundation, but if you want a powder foundation, there's better. But I do love his current BBB cream. So it's not that I don't like the brand. Here we have the Jaclyn Hill. She had the skin tint. And you know, it's not a bad product. And some of you for my January foundation month really are good fans of Jaclyn Hill, and you told me thank you for going easy on her. It wasn't bad. It's just that I don't want to dogpile. You know, don't kick someone when they're down. It's not a great product. But trust me, there's worse. The Caliray was 100 times worse, okay? You know, it's not bad. You don't need this. It's a waste of your money. There's so much better out there. Oh, Urban Decay has their Stay Naked Hydromaniac. This is another really, really good. Unfortunately, it's got, does it have SPF in it? Oh, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think it does. So that's really good. It's just another really nice skin tint. There's so many of them. The Shiseido is a great new one. I love the Tarte is a great new one. There's so many of these that are really, really good and better and more exciting, it feels to me, than Laura Mercier. That's unfair, I know. But this is one of them. It's a perfectly lovely little medium foundation at a good price. Speaking of, do you guys remember this one? This was a while back. And I'm sure mine's gone bad by now, but you could see how squeezed in the tube is. I really loved it. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Stripped Nude Skin Tint. Do you guys remember that? Great foundation. Really pretty on the face. And I'm rediscovering this. I'm going to have to see if this is still good enough to use. It's a super pretty skin tint. There's just so many. I mean, I wish I could say, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. But, you know, it's impossible to do so. Oh, why, Gucci. What a terrible foundation. I will save this just for comparison purposes, but it's separating already. Gucci products are made by Coty, which is like a drugstore brand that has a high-end aspect to it. They do quite a few high-end foundations. This is awful. The primer was awful. The foundation is awful. Enough said. I still have it, but it's horrible. And they've cheated me. Oh, speaking of horrible, Marc Jacobs Extra Shot. Oh my God, this was so bad. Is this this is the foundation, right? It was like a foundation concealer. I don't know. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And we love Marc Jacobs beauty products, right? We do. But this was awful, and it almost felt like it was like the swan song of the beauty brand for Marc Jacobs. It's like, oh, you should have been played out on a better note than that one. This was just awful. So that is going over there. I don't even know if I'll save that. What would I ever have to compare it to? Nars. This was my winner for the best new foundation in January, where we had like 18 to review. There's been more added on, and I'll have to revise my list, but this is still a great foundation. This is the light reflecting foundation from Nars, and it is absolutely lovely. There's no scent to it. There is no SPF in it. It is probably the perfect current foundation that's sold. It's absolutely lovely. And that is a good one. And let's see what we got here. Rose Inc. This was another fantastic one. So the Rose Inc. In the review of it that I'll link below, I compared to the Le Beige Water Tint from Chanel. Both are beautiful products. They both have, let's see if I can zoom in on it, these little bubbles. They're not scrubbing bubbles, but these little bubbles that you put on your hand, and then you just kind of mix them and they become like a water tint. The Rose Inc has a little bit more coverage than the Chanel. Both are beautiful products, and the Rose Inc is always going to be more affordable than our friend Chanel over here. You know, I have to tell you, when Rose Inc first came on the market, I was like, you know, it's like a model brand, like, I am continually impressed by Rose Inc. That cream blush is like the best on the market. Have you tried the Rose Inc cream blush? Do yourself a favor. It's amazing. And this skin tint is lovely for a light coverage, kind of dewy look. It's absolutely lovely. Oh my goodness, we're almost done. I'm saving the best for last. Okay, as much as I hate the Fenty Eavesdrop, I actually really like this Fenty powder foundation. I've used mine quite a bit, and I've recommended it to people when they ask me, and they've all been quite happy with it. I like this little powder foundation. If you are in the market for a powder foundation, it's impressive. It's really, really good. So here's a product that I hated and now love, and it is the Huda Glowish. Okay, so when I first got the Huda Glowish, I put it on my skin, and you know, it's supposed to blur imperfections, and it didn't do anything for me. Then I combined it with her kind of glowish, this like skin tint, primary skin tint thing, and this under this are one of my favorite foundation combinations ever. So it's the Glowish powder by Huda with the Glowish underneath it. It's just so pretty together. One of my favorites ever. Just, you look absolutely flawless, and I absolutely love it. And she made this nymph too, which is way too shiny. I don't even know if this should be out here because it's kind of like one of the hybrids, but it's just kind of also blurring underneath, but you could wear that with the Glowish. Those were good products. That was quite a few months ago from Huda, and they were really nice products. Oh, we've only got a few left here. We're going fast. Oh my God, look how well loved this is. This is the Tarte Hydraflex. Kind of goes with the concealer that I love by them. A watery, look at how dirty this is. I can't even get it off. I love this. It's just the perfect skin tint. It's not too heavy and not too light. There's way too many skin tints out here to name one, but I love it. I love it. We're not really ranking them here, guys. We're just going through it. Oh dear, this has seen better days. So this is the Lumiere Soft Fluid Foundation. This was hugely popular for a while. Not a great shade range. If you've got a darker skin tone, let me know below if you found one of these that works for you. This is separated and is changing color. It's time for it to go. It's old. I bought it. It was even too light for me. I was not impressed with the shade range. But just like that Laura Mercier liquid foundation, they were darlings of the industry a while back. Here's the Tom Ford Traceless. I still use this, and it's old. It's a stick foundation, and it's a really nice one. Super pretty. I don't know if this has SPF in it or not. I'll have to look. But it's just such a nice foundation stick. If you're in a hurry, a foundation stick is always a good way to go. And this is one of my absolute favorites. And last but not least, I saved my absolute favorite of all of these foundations. I saved for the absolute last. I know you said, well, Nars was your favorite. No, Nars was my top pick, my top recommendation, but my personal absolute favorite is the brand new #1 de Chanel foundation. I have it in 2 shades. The shade I picked up from Ulta and the shade that was recommended to me in Chanel. They're both really nice. And it's just such a pretty foundation. It wasn't my overall recommendation for my January foundation month because there is a burst of fragrance when you first open it. And I know my migraine sufferers hate that and those with allergies and whatnot. So I didn't make it my top pick for you. But for me, I love this. It is so pretty. Chanel they're killing it. Like lately, I cannot try a new Chanel product without absolutely falling in love with it. And I kind of have gone on an up and down roller coaster with Chanel. For a few years, I wasn't that impressed, and I'm back better than ever. They're just really impressive and too darn expensive. And now sold at Ulta. Will wonders never cease? So they are my absolute favorite. What is my favorite for super light? Probably the Rose Inc. And what is my favorite for the thickest, heaviest? Either the new Patrick Starrr BBB that I'm wearing or the Makeup Forever. So there's kind of a light, medium, Chanel being the medium here, kind of a light, medium, and full recommendations for my favorites. You will never run out of skin tints to try. Let me tell you, there's a lot here. I now am going to clean this up and I will put in a photo right here of how everything looked after I organized my main squeeze foundation drawer, the ones I kind of wear on the everyday and I'm still kind of testing. And we have more foundations coming. So thank you for doing this kind of declutter with me to make room for a few more that will be coming in. I know Hermes has one, you guys. I don't know. Coming up, I don't know. Do we really? I don't know. Let me think about that and let me know what your thoughts are on that below. And on all of these, do you remember some of these? Do you have these? How many do you currently have in your collection? Please remember I do get them for review purposes. I'm not a foundation hoarder, but by default, it kind of looks like I am. Leave your comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. You really were a great help and good company to me while I went through them here. And hey, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of the fun coming up over the next few months. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.